Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Jim Nowakowski with Interline Creative Group. We're getting ready for a wonderful webinar on what this is a designer's blueprint for what people really want in their homes. We'll be starting in about 5 minutes. This will be recorded, so we'll offer you that afterwards. You can take copious notes, ask questions in the question box, but we'll be starting shortly. Hang in there. Hold on. Okay, let's get the show on the road. The room's full. People are still coming in, but we're getting ready to start. I want to welcome you. This is Jim Nowakowski talking from Interline Creative Group. We're an organization been in business over 30 years. Very excited to present some research from our sister company, Accountability Information Management. When you registered to get credit or not get credit. We know all that, and we will follow up with you after this. This course is in fact approved by the AIA. We're continuing education providers, so if you need those AIA credits, you will get a full credit for this. This is an hour course. Where it's also approved by the NKBA, which is the National Kitchen Bath Association. Again, we're providers of that. And last but not least, the IDCEC for interior designers. We have many interior designers in the audience. Very, very big welcome to all of you. And so those three organizations are the organizations that have approved this course. I'm very excited to present to you. And one of the things we are going to present is the course description. Now, we gave this in when you registered, you read about it, which is probably why you want to be here, hopefully. And it's designed for all of you. And we have, besides architects and interior designers, we also have people in retail. We have people in the supply chain. We have distributors. And this is designed for all professionals who are trying to understand what the heck consumers want in a home, right? It's so difficult, especially with the housing climate these days, right? We're going to touch on that in a little bit, but what we're going to do is present the results of comprehensive research that Accountability Information did. And the research is very different than other research. We're going to compare that research to some of the other association research that you'll see. But why this is important, because this is research that asks them what they have in their home and what they really, really want in their home, their dream home. And as you know, when you talk to consumers, one day they want this, one day they want that. So we try to sort that all out in this research, aimed at, and I'm very honored to be able to present these results to you. So some of the objectives on the right there, we're going to review what they want, the results of the research, gain some knowledge, and really how to position yourself in the marketplace. You know, there's nothing, and I say this in all my webinars that I've given, you know, in the past 10 years, there's nothing more important than positioning yourself properly in the marketplace. And the difference between 10 years ago and today is that the market's much more in flux. It moves very quickly. But the one thing you don't want to do is change your position too often. You want to set your strategies and make sure the strategy is correct, and then execute that strategy. Okay, so if you have any questions, put them in the question box. Bernie is helping me. She'll be feeding me the questions as we go forward. You can stop me at any time. So let's begin. The homeowner comes in all sizes, shapes. They live everywhere, make money at different levels, right? You got the startups. Sometimes they stay, right? Sometimes who knows, right? What's a designer to do? How do you focus? How do you start communicating with today's homeowners? Well, let's talk about that. First of all, listening. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing more important than listening. Nothing. I was on a podcast yesterday with a pump outlet that does big industrial submersible pumps. And she asked me, what type of advice do you have for young people just getting into the marketing business? And I said, be a sponge. And so I'm encouraging you to listen all the time. I could send you an article I just wrote for Quarks magazine that talked about how Wrigley, of the chewing gum fame, started out selling baking soda and then switched to chewing gum and became the Wrigley that we know and love today. Study the facts. You know, unfortunately, Google controls 75% of what people see and read. And I know you're like me, you don't believe everything Google tells you, do you? I know sometimes I really want to, but I don't. So you start with Google, but you really should end with your own customer base. Your customer file is more important than anything Google has. And then live in the real world. Pardon me. What does that mean? Well, it really means that, you've been hearing about the wonderful economy we have, right? It's not that wonderful if you think about it. Mortgages are at high rates. You can't afford a home. People were COVID, we're just getting over COVID, and yet I read in the morning news today that Seattle's going back to doing masks like COVID. So by living in the real world, I mean, don't judge all the time by what you think is going on. Try to really understand what's going on. So the research that AIM did, this is just a basic demographic of the people that they talked to in this research. This research was done online. And they did some targeted interviews, but it was basically an online research survey instrument that they did. These are the ages of the homeowners. So you can see it's nicely spread. The older people were the smallest block, right? But you had all these young people. The location was across the country. So you can't say that what you're going to see is just the result of living in the South or in Florida or in California. You can't say that. These people came from everywhere, and AIM was assured that they wanted to stay in everywhere. The income level of the people was across the board, starting at 74%, 50 to 74, which is the smallest block, 75, 100, 150, 200. So the household incomes were everywhere, and I think you will be surprised at some of the things that these income levels produce. Okay. And how many years have you occupied your home? Over 20 years, nicely distributed, right? From over 20 years down to 2 years. So new homeowners, but basically they've been living in here for quite a while into their homes. And finally, most of them have a mortgage, right? 22%, right? A small portion don't have mortgages. That's probably the older people or the rich people, right? Now, when I say older, rich, whatever, you have a demographic you serve. All of you in the audience, whether you're in retail, whether you're a designer, architect, whatever, you have a certain target in mind. I want you to keep that target in mind, but I also want you to suspend for a moment when we go through this research that your target is the same for everybody. Now, most people try to put people in buckets. Well, the millennials don't, and they got these, right? Don't think about that. We'll talk about it, but not every millennial is the same thing. And a Gen Zer, sometimes they have qualities that are equal to the baby boomers. You don't know until you do research, right? So if you ask anybody at any moment what they want in a home or anything, the next minute you ask them again, it's going to be different because things change. They change. Somebody breaks a leg and they can't get into the shower anymore. It's not handicap ADA accessible. It's different. It's different. You don't know. According to the researchers, there will be more people per household regardless of age of the household head. Think about these facts as we go through the research. What does that mean? Well, there are going to be more people living in a home, right? Regardless of the age of the household head. There's going to be more people. All future net household growth is going to be among senior households. Why is that? Because they probably have the money. Well, Jim, didn't I read about Gen Zers having all the money and control? Well, where do they get their money? Just ask yourself follow the money. The pace for renter growth will be more than double the pace of homeowner growth from 220 to 240. Why is that? Because people can't afford the homes. If you can't afford the home, you're going to rent. If you do rent, you got to deal with the owner. The owner is going to accommodate, because if he wants to rent his home, he's got to accommodate the renter's needs, right? And nowadays, what you see with renters and renting populations is that they just need to rent something, right? But it's better to own, and people want to own a home. That's the American dream. It's not dead. That's what they want to do. As millennials enter their peak home buying years, their reluctance to enter the housing market could change. They're reluctant. People don't want to make that commitment. Don't want to sign on the dotted line. That's a big thing. So renters were roughly 3 times more likely than homeowners to miss payments in 2021 coming off of COVID, right? And I think you know what's going on in commercial buildings, right? Commercial buildings are, it's like ghost towns. And what they're trying to do with commercial buildings is turn them into apartments. If you just Google commercial buildings and apartment, and you can read all about the movement going on. Why? Because people want to rent. But that doesn't decry from what they need in their home, whether they're renting or whether they're buying or whether they're owning. And since the Great Recession, there's a cumulative shortage of new single-family home permits. There's a shortage. Why? People aren't buying, and when they can buy, they can't afford it. Look at the average house cost in your area or across the nation. It's incredible. I've never seen it like this. What home buyers really want is a publication by the National Association of Home Builders. This is you can Google the title, it'll give you a summary. You can get a 9-page summary for nothing, but this is a very expensive piece of research, which we purchased, just to make sure that what AIM is saying is what they were saying. And what we're going to find is that some things that they say match, and some things that they say don't match with what AIM found out. Now, why is that? Why would a piece of research not match across the board? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Methodology, audience that they sampled, blah, 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 blah. So, Jim, why should we believe Accountability's research rather than the National Association of Home Builders? You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to believe one or the other or both or none. You got to do your own evaluation, your own measurements, your own beliefs. I'm saying that if you're going to do what I told you to do, listen and be a sponge. You want to understand what they're saying, why they're saying it, and understand what AIM is saying and why they're saying it. And then I'll add my 2 cents, but you got to add your own 2 cents. This is a 358-page report. When you signed up, one of the questions we asked you is, do you want a 40-page report based on what AIM found out? And some of you said yes, and some of you said no, and some of you didn't answer that question. So I'm going to give you a chance at the end of this to ask again if you want that report. If you signed up, you want it, don't worry about it. We will be sending it to you. It's 40 pages, digital. It's a wonderful read. It'll cover the things that I don't do. Okay? So adjust your coordinates. That means you're digesting, processing content, and you do the same thing in marketing. You validate your position. You should always validate if you think you know something today, it may not be true tomorrow. So validate your position constantly. Well, Jim, how do you evaluate that? Well, you ask questions of your audience, of people on the street. Go and observe people at a showroom, at a Home Depot. Just observe what people are doing and how they're talking. Be a ghost. Be a wallflower. It's one of the observational research is one of the secret weapons of anybody who wants to sell anything. So just validate your position. And I always like to show this with what I'm talking about with validating. This is Maslow's hierarchy. I was going to ask you a question and give you a Starbucks card if you can answer it. I'm going to give myself the Starbucks. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you've never seen this, please look it up and look at it because it's one of the primary drivers of understanding marketing. What does it mean? Well, if you don't satisfy your physiological needs and safety needs and belonging needs and esteem needs, you're never going to reach self-actualization. What does that mean? Well, you have to, self-actualization is doing what you want when you want to do it. How many of us are doing that? I'm very blessed and fortunate. I've been doing that for a long time, right? But if I had to guard myself, or if I want to go into office, I used to worry about going through a war zone, I would not be worried about self-actualization. I'd be worried about survival. If I don't know where my food is coming from, I would worry about that. So as you think about this, think about where people are on this Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Okay. As an example, the NAHB research said that it was the most sought after room, the laundry room. You're kidding me, Jim. Oh, you're kidding me, right? No, I'm not. The NAHB, that 390 plus page research said the most sought after room of all the people that they polled was, in fact, the laundry room. And guess what? AIM concurred. 78% said they want that in their dream home. Now, why is that? Why? Who among you in the audience leads, you should see the laundry room in this home? Nobody does that, right? Real estate agents don't do that. Who does that? You should think about doing that. Everybody wants a nice kitchen. Everybody wants a nice bathroom. Everybody wants a nice master bedroom. Everybody wants a nice, right? If you're going to differentiate yourself, you have to do something different. And if this is true, and I believe it's true simply from the facts that if there's more people that are going to be living in a home, that laundry room can't just be a stacked dryer and washer in a little corner of a closet. It's just not going to work. And I'm not suggesting to you that every home looks like this with the laundry room. But what I am suggesting to you is that when you consider calling on your clients and prospects, if you don't play up, quote unquote, the laundry room, you're going to miss an opportunity because that's what people want. If you give people what they want, they're going to beat a path to your door. It's as simple as that. 68% report having it in their current home. 68% said they have it, but they want it in their dream home. Therein lies the difference between what people have and what they want and what we're going to be looking at. So, any questions so far? I don't see any questions. Bernie, I don't think you see any questions. You let me know if you do. This is proprietary research that Accountability did. And it means they did it for their own sake and they did it for us and they shared it with us. And it's going to ask homeowners what they have and what they want in the dream home. It's based on almost 400 consumers. You saw the demographics before. And it compares what they have with what they want. And when you compare, a great Kierkegaard, a great philosopher, said knowledge is comparison, right? You have to know what a yes is in order to know what a no is. You have to know what a 1 is in order to know what a 0 is. And you have to know what they have in order to know what they want. And when you compare those two, the difference between what they have and what they want is the key to differentiation in your pitches. When you're pitching people about what you do as a designer, as an architect, as a showroom, as a real estate agent, when you talk and differentiate yourself, you have to talk to people about what they really want. Everybody, you walk into a home when you're pitching it that somebody wants to hire you, you walk into their current home, what's the first question you ask? What do you want in your new home? Well, do they always tell you what they want in their new home? I don't think so. You have to make suggestions, you have to cajole them. It's like pulling teeth sometimes. This research gives you a heads up, head start. And these findings are going to surprise you, perhaps, and perhaps not. You may say, I knew that. I don't need to know that. So what room do you think people most wanted in their dream home that they did not have? So remember, we're looking at what they have and what they want and the difference. So if they don't have it, but really, really want it, that's an important thing. And if they have it like the laundry room and they want it as like in the laundry room, that's a good thing too. But we want to find out the big differences between those two statistics. So I'm asking you a question. What room do you think people most wanted in their dream home and didn't have it in their current home? I was going to do a poll. You know how to do that in PowerPoints, but I didn't want to do it. If you want to put the answer in there, primary bedroom on the first floor. There's an answer, right? That's a good answer. That's not the answer that I'm looking for, but that's good. Office walk-in closet, great. Big kitchen, of course. But that's not, in this AIM research, it's not the room. It's not the room. It's not the room. You ready? You ready? All right. It's the wine cellar. Oh, get out of here. I'm leaving the webinar. I'm getting out of here. Jim, forget about it. That's BS. No, no, it's not. This was the highest category in the difference between what people want and what they have. 588% difference between what they have and what they want. That means they didn't have a wine cellar. Now, if you go to the wine cellar in the NAHB research, they're going to tell you point blank, and I'll save you the money. They're going to tell you that people with wine cellars in their home can't sell their home. They're going to tell you that, and whether or not you believe them, that's up to you. I'm just saying that this is what the AIM research says, and I know why. We figured it out at Interline. The question to ask yourself if they say that is, how do you define wine cellar? How do you define that? And why would there be such a big difference between what they have and what they want? Well, what is a wine cellar? Aristotle said, define your terms. Most people look at the picture I'm showing you, well, that's a wine cellar. But is it really? What is a wine cellar? Not only that, do you understand, ladies and gentlemen, the consumption of wine in the United States? Do you have any idea what's going on with wine in the United States? Just go to a wine, one of your local liquor stores or a wine store, like a Total Wine or whatever, and watch the amount of wine leaving the building. What you're looking at now is a wine cellar. No, it's not. That's not a wine cellar. Who says it's not? Who says it's not a wine cellar? That's this home's wine cellar. This home's wine cellar. Wine cellar is in the eye of the beholder. Look at the statistic of the gallons of wine being consumed in the United States, right? Now, I am not suggesting that you lead, boy, you need a wine cellar, but I am suggesting things like to be an observer. And when you're making a sales call on a new prospect, bring a bottle of wine. Or look at them, observe. Create a wine cellar portfolio of ideas. I'm telling you right now, if you walk in and the usual, right, what you were suggesting to me, and thank you, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, for mud room, primary bedroom, all of your answers are beautiful. I'm just giving you a clue on what to add to your portfolio pitch, which is wine cellar. If you walk in and then suddenly you find out that these people like their wines, but they have nowhere to store them. And by the way, you can create a wine cellar under the stairs, right? I've seen that. You've seen that. Go to House and look at wine cellars the way they call wine cellars. For example, you can sponsor a wine tasting event and create a lead list. You can partner with a showroom and do this. You can partner with a real estate agent and do this. So as you partner and you do these events and you start talking to people, I'm going to bet that you're going to find out that how you define a wine cellar is not out of the question. It's not. Tap real estate agents and hold discussion groups. What's wrong with that? Well, Jim, no one ever does that. No one ever does that. Have you ever asked to do that? I know 3 real estate agents that when I brought this idea to them, they said, quote, sounds like a great idea. When do we do it? Why? Everybody's interested in selling. They have to sell. But how do you sell if everybody wants a nice kitchen and, oh, I need a nice bedroom and a nice mudroom and a home office? Those are the usual suspects. Great. I'm applauding that. You need that. You really need that, right? But you don't overlook the wine cellar. Outdoor kitchens. Well, really? Outdoor kitchens was the second highest category in terms of the difference between what people want in the dream home compared to what they have in their current home. A lot of them didn't have an outdoor kitchen. They had a Weber grill on the patio. What's an outdoor kitchen? Why would they want that? Why is there in my dream home, I want an outdoor kitchen? According to the NAHB, is still strongly rejected by 31% of buyers. They don't want an outdoor kitchen according to that big piece of research. You can believe that, but that piece of research was done right before and during COVID. And in COVID, you had to stay inside. Remember, they locked us down. They ruined our lives, many lives. People wanted to get outside, and they'll never forget that. That's been embedded in their mind. That whole idea of being locked down is now part of our psyche, and we don't want it. We don't want it anymore. Most people just forbid, God forbid it happens again, but we will not. I don't want it anymore. I got to be outside, right? The outdoor kitchen. And what is an outdoor kitchen? Same thing like a wine cellar. How do you define it? It could be a Weber grill on the patio, right? It could be. I'm not saying it's not. And even the NAHB itself, look at, even they offer why outdoor kitchens are so popular. They say 31% of buyers don't want it. They reject it. They don't want it. 31% is a lot. And yet they offer an article on why it's popular. Well, you know why it's popular. People like the outdoors, don't they? But what is an outdoor kitchen? So tips and tricks. Be an observer. Have you been to the local Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever you have these stores? Have you been there? Have you watched people when they look at grills? Have you listened carefully? Have you pretended to be a secret shopper? You know what that concept is, ladies and gentlemen? Secret shopper is where you go in not as a designer, not as an architect, but as a consumer. And you start talking to people. You know, it's amazing what you learn when you talk to people. We were at a Home Depot the other day. We were wondering why our thyme doesn't thrive. And you know, it's the time for thyme to thrive. We like spices. And the guy just stopped out of nowhere and said, you know, are you finding everything you need? And we asked this question. And we spent the next 15 minutes talking to him about plants. Fountain of knowledge, fountain of knowledge. Absolutely a fountain of knowledge. Overwatering is the key, probably one of the main reasons why your thyme doesn't thrive. But in any case, talk to people as a consumer. Now, he doesn't know I was going to do this webinar and bring him up. He doesn't know I was going to talk about outdoor kitchens. Tap realtors. Number 3, realtors know an awful lot. They know an awful lot. If you go to a realtor and say, how many homes do you sell have outdoor kitchens? And can I see a few of them? Does an outdoor kitchen ever make, you know, is it a deal breaker or a deal maker? Well, it's neither one, may say one realtor. And that may be true. But I'm telling you now, the consumers that we talk to, that AIM talk to, that they talk to, they want an outdoor kitchen. So go to a retail and chat them up and then write a white paper. You know, the things I'm giving you, which I'll end up with at the end, are ways to shape your pitch. It doesn't matter what the heck you do, whether you're an architect, designer, showroom, retail outlet, how you write, how you shape your pitches depends on the words you use, right? And the content you produce is how you beat Google. That's how you beat Google. Google is all based on content, and especially nowadays with AI. Oh my God, AI. Have you tried that yet? I want to hear from you if you've tried it yet. Like AI, Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT. Try it. It helps you write. Don't copy it and just use it. You can use it as a jump starter. But prepare your content for your website. That's how you beat Google. You understand? Questions? Steam showers. This was the 3rd highest category in the difference between what people want and what in their dream room and what they have. They want these steam showers. Well, Jim, not every home has the capacity for a steam shower. Well, it depends on your price range, doesn't it? And what is a steam shower? What, again, define your terms. When I was growing up, right, after I got married, a steam shower was turning the shower on in hot water and just standing there and letting the steam come on in the shower. We didn't have these elaborate structures like you're looking at here. What is a steam shower? 411% was the difference between what they had and what they wanted in the dream home. Note the second bullet point. None of these homes, none of the 4,000 square foot homes in this study reported having a steam shower. Well, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense, Jim. The larger the home, the more likely it was to have a steam shower. Exactly. But they didn't. But they wanted them. They wanted one. They didn't have them. And these are the big homes, 4,000 square feet. Oh, 32% of that group wanted one. They want one. So if you're not offering a steam shower in your portfolio of ideas, think again, because this is what people want. And I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter what demographic you're looking at. You have to have this in your pitch portfolio, because it's, if you dangle a steam shower, well, I can't afford that. Well, how do you know? What is a steam shower? 11% of the 3,000 to 4,000 homes reported having them in the current home. Only 11%. Only 11% of these big homes had it. So I don't know about you, but we represent one of the big steam shower companies in the country. But I'm telling you, they're selling these steam showers. All you have to do is understand what they do, why they're healthy. And by the way, wellness, think about it, right? Wellness is one of the trends. So tips and tricks. Find customers house hunting and offer to go with them. What does that mean? Well, it depends what you do. If you're an architect, interior designer, showroom, retailer, whatever. If you find out someone's looking for a house, may I join you? Go as an observer. Your friends that are buying a house, let me come with you. And don't say anything, just listen to what they do. Go to an open house and hang around like a consumer. Be a secret shopper. Go to an open house, walk in, and start listening to what people are saying. And then if you want to, drop a couple of hints from what we're talking about today. What about a wine cellar? What about wine? Do you drink wine? Where do you store it? Where do you store your wine? Is there an outdoor kitchen in this open house? Oh, look at that yard. It's empty. Perfect place for an outdoor. You think people would want an outdoor kitchen? You start conversations and you learn so much. Engage with a retailer in conversations about the pros and cons of such steam rooms. What are the pros and cons? Are there pros and cons? And you can tap manufacturers like a Mr. Steam for literature to use in your work. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a dirty little secret. Every manufacturer of a wine cellar, of wine racks, of outdoor kitchens, of steam showers has an abundance, not just of digital literature, but of printed literature, especially with people like this who offer these high-end steam rooms, right? They're going to have printed literature, and it would be a pleasure to give it to you to use in your pitch. So I would recommend for all of the manufacturers you're trying to represent or sell or understand these movements, these trends, write them a letter. Say, can I have 5 copies of your latest literature? And if they send you, well, we only do digital literature, well, they're okay, put them on the side. Because this digital literature is a dime a dozen now. Anybody can get it. Consumers can get it. They can go to the same place you're going to get that. I remember in the old days, Kohler, big plumbing company, right, would only give literature to people who filled out a form. They wouldn't just send it in mass. They would want to know who they're sending it to. And so what if a manufacturer has your name and then they contact you and say, how can I help you? How can they help you? If the difference in the home you're going to sell, or in the design you're going to do, is in fact the steam shower, I assure you, not just Mr. Steam, but anybody who makes this product would go out of their way to help you sell that home. So do a piece of research in a particular zip code if people have steam showers. What does that mean? Well, pick a zip code and mail to the zip code. How do you get the names in the zip code? You need a name? Go get the addresses of the block or blocks you're going to, take down the addresses, ask the post office, or Google addresses and zip codes, right? They'll give you the addresses, and then the title is owner. You don't need the name, just say owner. Do a postcard mailing and send them to a website. Do a regular mailing and have a response card. And just do research constantly and coordinate with the manufacturer to do the follow-up on the customer file. Any questions? Let me look. Bernie, do you see any new questions?
I do not. No.
Okay. Thank you, Bernie. There's Bernie. She's real, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here's the question. Why am I here? No, I'm kidding. I made that up. I know why I'm here. I hope you know why you're here. All right. Full bidet in the master bath. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is this? Full bidet. Full bidet? That's a full bidet. Those are pictures of a full bidet. I remember the first time I saw that. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. You ask any European, they know exactly what it is. So one of the problems of researchers, they try to slot people into buckets. So if you think, well, a full bidet, Jim, what are you telling me from this research? That people really want this full bidet in the master bath? I'm suggesting to you that the research that AIM did says that. Here's the buckets we talked about: baby boomers, Gen Xers, Y, Z, A, blah, blah, blah. Who decided those categories? Who said a Gen Z is this people born here and a baby boomer is here? Who decided these things? Marketers, right? And they know everything, don't they? No, no, no. Do not assume that because you're a certain age, you're just a millennial and you only have millennial taste. Don't assume that. If you assume that, you know what happens. You make an ass out of you and me, right? You've seen that before, ASSUME, right? So everybody's different. Everybody's different. I would not want that in mine. I don't know if you would in yours, but remember what we're talking about. Define your terms. What is a bidet? What is a bidet? According to the one report, 36% of the people don't want it. And the older you are, the more you don't want it, said the AIM research. Really? I don't know. If I were older, you know what a bidet does, right? There's one company that I'm thinking of right now that made a whole business about bidet seats, which we're going to talk about. We're going to touch on. Toto, right? Toto created that. You remember that? You don't remember that, but when they launched in the United States, they had little bums on the New York. They bought a billboard in New York with little bums with little smiley faces. Big thing. And now Toto's the king of hygiene, right? Everybody understands Toto because they talked about it first, cleanliness. Not only that, when COVID hit, you know what happened with bidet seats, ladies and gentlemen? Well, you know what happened with toilet paper, right? And people ran out of toilet paper. Why? Because they ran out of toilet. They cleanliness. They needed cleanliness. So Costco ran out of toilet paper, right? Walmart ran out of toilet paper. What were they buying instead? Bidet seats. Bidet seats. I know a contractor who bought from a distributor every bidet seat that the distributor sold, and he sold out in 2 weeks and made a fortune. I'm telling you. So you got to give people what they want. Well, Jim, I don't believe that they want a full bidet. Well, a full bidet or a bidet, whether it's full adjective modifying bidet, 248% of the people wanted a bidet in the master bath. What is a bidet? Well, if you look at this, it's not the boomers. It's really those Gen Xers. Okay. What is a bidet? I'm sorry, I guys getting a note from there. Here's a bidet seat. This is a bidet. These are the bidet seats. This is a full bidet. You put it on the toilet in the master bath and you got yourself a full bidet in the master bath. Electronic, hot water, blah, 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 blah. Ladies and gentlemen, hygiene is here to stay. Uh-oh, Bernie's alerted me. I'm placing bidets in my projects for the past 20 years. Right on. Great comment. Of course you have. Of course you have. 20 years. You predate COVID. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you. Yes. And, and people, oh, it's a delicate topic. We don't want to talk about it. Well, tell that to Toto, right? Or tell that to the other people now who sell bidet seats. Hygiene is here to stay. And that's why people want it in the master bath, whether they want the full bidet or the bidet seats, right? So make a deal with a showroom who has installed a bidet or bidet seat. And then, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of people in the audience. I always like to do this. Have you tried, and I know, Leslie, thank you very much. You've used the bidet seat. I remember my first experience with a bidet seat. I don't know about you, but once you use a bidet seat, you don't go back. Am I right? Am I right? I was talking to an industrial designer once for a piece of research for said company, and he said he owned a Tesla and a bidet seat. And he told me, he said, honestly, he said, if you asked me to pick one and I had to give up the other one, I would give up the Tesla. Now, he said that in all sincerity. That was an amazing comment. The client loved it. Because if you think about it, this is a very personal, the bathroom is very personal. You're interacting in a very personal way, right? And cleanliness, I used to, when I was a kid, cleanliness is next to godliness. Wash your hands, my mother would say. All the time, wash your hands. And then along comes COVID. And what are they telling us? Wash your hands. Laszlo, you're making me laugh. I don't know if I should read your comment. First time he used the bidet, he washed his feet in it. Thank you for the comment. Anyway, bidet seats, please consider them. Multi-generational rooms and suites. What the heck does that mean? This was the 5th highest category between the difference of what people want and what they have. And you already know the answer to why this is important, don't you? I told you this in the beginning of the presentation. More and more people are going to be living at home together. Why? They can't afford a home. They can't afford a home, so they live together, and they need more room. So what is a multi-generational room? Well, it's living in at least 2 adult generations living together. The grandparents, the parents, the children, the grandchildren, who knows, right? In 2022, the Wall Street Journal published an article, Magic Multi-Generational Housing Aims to Alleviate Social Isolations. You're coming right out of COVID, right? Birds of a feather flock together. Families who stay together, stay together. You couldn't go out, right? So you stayed together. Here's a quote. The U.S. is facing an aging population, shortage of caregivers, dearths of affordable housing, and an increase in social isolation that threatens well-being. Some think what we really need is magic. What you really need is an understanding of what people need when they live together. When they live together, multi-generational rooms. Because different ages require different things. So probe your clients. If you got somebody looking for a home, maybe it's only you see 2 people. Who else is in that family? And do a site visit, right? Go visit them at the home and see what's going on. Examine when I was a young man, my friends would live in my house, right? It was a 4-room apartment. There was nowhere to go. We lived in an apartment. Examine your client list from the past. Maybe there's a tip on what they're doing now if they're still in the same home, if they've moved, and do direct mail and research. Create a position paper and publish it in the local news. Ladies and gentlemen, you are the expert. You are the expert in all of these topics that we're talking about in the home buying. It's not the Wall Street Journal. It's not an economist. God, they don't know anything. It's you. You're the expert. And your local news outlets, your media outlets, they want and they need content. They want content. You are the content. You are the content. And it's not just for your website where you should be putting this content. You should be talking about this to anybody who will listen, which is the news outlets. They always do special features. Okay. Financial, here's the story. Nearly 4 in 10 men ages 24 now live with older relatives. Financial issues top the list of reasons US adults live in multi-generational homes. It's not just when this research was done, it's today. Google multi-generational homes today and see what's going on. And here's a graph, right, from US population in multi-generational households quadrupled since 71. It's only increasing. So if it's increasing and you don't address it in your pitches and you don't address it, I'm just saying, you understand? There's things going on that you have to be aware of. Sunrooms. This was the sixth highest category, 223%. Between what they wanted in their dream home and what they had. Why should a designer consider adding a showroom to the thinking when you read things like this? Sunrooms have long been considered one of the worst home improvements a homeowner can make for a handful of reasons. That's a direct quote from either an article or from a big piece of research, and I won't mention any names. Okay? They're basically poo-pooing sunrooms. Do you know people used to worship the sun? Well, wait a minute. It gives you skin cancer, Jim. What are you talking about? Not if you use sunscreen. I'm talking about sunlight. The sun. Have you forgotten what COVID did to us? Locked us down. The sunroom. Not every. Well, Jim, are you saying every home has to have a sunroom now? No, I'm saying that if you're going to sell a home, you better consider what a sunroom is. Define the term. What is a sunroom? Is a sunroom remodeling one of the rooms that's totally with one window and putting windows everywhere? What is a sunroom? You have to define it. So cruise the neighborhood and look at the types of treatments. I remember the first sunroom I ever went into, right? It was when I was already working full time. And one of the account executives at the agency where I worked at lived in Wheaton, Illinois. And I went to his house and he had this beautiful sunroom where we met. And it was the dead of winter and we were warm. It was an unbelievable experience. So look around the neighborhood and ask yourself, well, do I need a sunroom in Florida? Well, you need something in Florida. Architects who do residential work will walk the neighborhood before they sit down. It's like a racetrack driver walking the track. Make Google your friend and then put them in your pitch book. So if you Google sunrooms, bunch of stories, here they are. Milwaukee homeowners find sunrooms in a comfortable spot. St. Charles, blah, blah, blah. Okay, media rooms. I don't want to run out of time. We've got 15 minutes. Remember, define your terms. What is a media room? It could be the television in a living room. See the bottom picture on the left? It could be a media room with seats, right? It doesn't have to be, it could be anything. What is a media room? But it's what people wanted. That was the 7th highest difference. Some people call it the family room. Some people call it a home theater. Remember, define your terms. Social media were wrong from the beginning. That's a wrong word, social media. It's not. Somebody said social media became everybody on everybody's lips, and now you think of social media. Well, wait a minute. All media is social. That social is, it's an adjective modifying media. Social media today encompasses X, right? Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, right? Instagram. That's all under the banner of social media. And all it is being social. How about newspapers, Jim? Is that social media? Of course it is. Digital newspapers are social medias. The internet, your website is social media. Of course it is. So it's all media. So don't be governed by words and how people define them. Most homeowners don't even know or care about the difference between words between a media room and a theater room. What can they afford, right? Find out about their social expectations. How many people are going to be in the room? Do they have space for a single-use cinema? And this is all in the 40-page report. So there's your mudroom. Whoever said mudroom, thank you very much. These are other rooms that were different that people wanted that they didn't have. Notice the word elevator. I remember the first home I ever saw with an elevator in it. And I was stunned. What the heck is an elevator doing in there? Well, if you have ADA considerations, an elevator comes in pretty handy than stairs. Would you agree with that? Not every home should. Are you, Jimmy? Are you telling me to pitch elevators? No. I'm saying these rooms are what people sometimes want, but are afraid to tell you. Keep them in your mind. Consumers are knowledgeable enough to select something else, and information travels so fast that these things change, right? So tap onto how consumers find builders. How do they find you? They go to Google, and this is how consumers would find builders. They would ask friends. Word of mouth, referrals. Most professionals in the audience get their recommendations from referrals. Start differentiating yourself. You'll get a lot of referrals, or not. Google, word of mouth, research, online, and so on. The breakdown of the 17 other ways, the 28% are reviews. They interview builders, the current work that they do, the Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. Some to-dos. In the 40-page report you're going to receive verbatim comments from what they like in their homes, living in their homes, their current homes, what they like about it. In the words in this appendix, the words that they give you in this appendix are keywords to use in your copy, in your preparation of your pitches. This is what consumers say they love about their home, their current home. You see the word everything in there? If you're going to design a home or you're going to design a pitch for a person who wants to do a home and you're a designer, an architect, whatever you are, you're going to love everything about your home. The word everything is a very important word. So as a bonus, we're going to send you this appendix, which has all these words like location. Location, that's a real estate word, Jim. No, it's not. It's your word if you make it your word. The location is very important, right? The layout, open floor plan. You're going to see these words in the appendix, and you should take those words. I'm giving them to you. Take them, use them in your pitch. And in Appendix 4, which is another bonus, it's what they don't like. Remember opposites? You need a yes to no, a no. You need a 1 for a 0. If this is what they like, we thought it's important from their verbatim comments from this research because they actually wrote this stuff in. This is not something we had to pull teeth on. They actually gave us this stuff, right? So they actually gave us what they don't like. Look at the word age, 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 age. They don't like old homes, right? They don't want an old home. Look at the bathroom. Bathroom and kitchen need updating. Basement was not finished. It's big. These are all to study and to use in your own pitches. Well, Jim, how can I use the word age? Well, older homes sometimes have a certain ambiance and they may work in certain neighborhoods, but for the most part, they don't. So one of the things to tell a prospect when you walk into a home and you find out how old it is, there's nothing wrong with telling them that one of the disadvantages you have is that you have an older home. But what is an older home? You have to define it. I live in a 20-year-old home, right? 20 years, that's an old home. Is it? I don't, maybe it is, but for me, it's not. It depends on your point of view, right? Why don't they like a dining room? Dining room is not multifunctional. Look at, these are just some of the tips. There's a bunch of words in here. So the 40-page report is yours for free. We're winding down. I've got 8 minutes left. This is great. And I want you to email me. Remember, you signed up for this and you will get credit. We'll follow up with you for full credit. But I'm looking down the list of attendees. Yes, I did take attendance. I see yes, yes, no, yes, please, no, no, please. So if you said a please or a yes or both, I'm going to send you this report. But of course, I'd love to hear from you and email me. But now's the time for your questions. I really hope you have some questions for me. Let's see. I'm going to the question box. Okay. I got a yes, thank you. Okay, any questions? Bernie, do you see any questions?
I do not.
Hold on, let's give them a minute. Stacy, I see we're gonna send you the report. Any questions? Really? Oh, really? Oh, okay. That means I covered everything. I inspired you. You're going to go out and make $1 million, and then you're going to remember poor Interline, right? No, I'm kidding. So I want to thank you for your time and attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share another secret with you. The only true non-renewable resource in the world is time. You and I will never get this hour back. And I hope you got something out of it, because I certainly did. It's been a while since I've been in front of an audience this big, and I want to thank you for your attention. I really
There's a
enjoyed.
question.
There is a question?
Yeah. Did the AIM study pick up regional differences?
The AIM study could do that. If you write me a nice email, I'll ask the people at AIM if they could go back into the data and do that. But I assure you that one of the things we found when we looked at all this data, because there was a lot of data, you can imagine over 400 responses with verbatim comments, that the regional differences are not as great as you may suspect. For example, if you're there, when we used to represent hardware, door hardware, there were sometimes regional differences in like the South where they had a big football following. Some people would like their hardware for their front door in a certain football color. But for the most part, regional differences, they kind of fade away now. And why is that? I certainly would be happy to look at that for you. Just email me with that question and we'll spend some time with the researchers and see if we can pull some regional differences out. But in any case, the regional differences are fading because we live in a national global world. The trends that you see in New York are actually sometimes taking place in California. I heard this morning on one of the newscasts, why do we all believe that California sets the tone and then it travels west? Well, if you're in plumbing, it starts in Massachusetts, where the plumbing codes start, and then it travels west, not east like California. People take ideas nowadays from the internet. For example, if you go on Google or Houzz, or you're looking at trending, if you follow beauty, now what do you mean, Jim? Beauty? What does that got to do with the hell we're talking about? I'm talking about the business of fashion. BOF is one of my secret sauces, one of my secret ingredients. I follow fashion, which is very arbitrary, which is very fickle, and you know what fashion's going through, to the answer to your question? There used to be Gucci, there still is. There used to be, right, Perry Ellis, still is. But you have all these other designers now coming out of the woodwork and taking market share from these big designers. In fact, I just read Gucci closed a factory recently. Regional differences don't seem to matter that much, unless you're talking heating and cooling, right? You need air conditioning in the South, you need, heat in the North, et cetera, et cetera. But as far as what we're talking about homes, you can use a steam shower whether you're in Florida or whether you're in North Dakota. I'm telling you right now. You can have a wine cellar whether you're in New York or California. These things we covered with AIM, we were trying to transcend the regional differences in order to give you a base to build on when you're pitching people. The kitchen may look different here and there and all that stuff, but these things a laundry room is a laundry room. It depends, it's a laundry, right? Doesn't matter if you're in Georgia or Kansas, it's a laundry room. Did that answer your question? Anyway, send me an email and I'll be happy to ask the researchers to look at regional differences. Any other questions, Bernie?
Nope, I don't see any.
Okay. Do we have time yet? Oh, we're closing in. 2 more minutes. Let me talk fast. I was talking fast. My next online webinar is July 17th, using public relations to stay in front of your customers, highly recommended. You can sign up for it on our website. It's really been revamped, and PR is the Marines of marketing. Everybody needs it, but most people don't know how to use it these days because we live in a very social media world. Well, we're going to teach you about that. I also blog a lot. You can see these are blogs about different topics, business blogs. It's nothing personal, nothing political, just business blogs. This is the one where I'm talking about transforming those manufactured to tap today's office marketplace, which is fading fast. What are the problems marketers face these days? We try to keep interest. You're welcome to visit the website. These are all free contents. Sometimes if you ask, what should I ask a client when I lose a pitch? We're number one. That's one of my most famous blogs. Every week, a lot of people read it, mostly lawyers. I don't know why. In any case, if you have any questions, please, Jim@interlinegroup.com. Jim@interlinegroup.com. You can call our office, 358-4848, 847-358-4848. You can email me at any time. You can follow me on X @interlinejim, interlinegroup.com/evaluate. If you go there and evaluate this webinar, we'll send you some guides. Bernie, we still have guides? Bernie
We
left.
do.
Oh.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much for your time and attention. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day and let's go make some money. Thank you.